Who Dat Nation, hold your breath, because the situation surrounding our star running back just reached a boiling point. Everyone is asking the same burning question. Will our veteran playmaker actually show up for mandatory minicamp? Or are we witnessing the beginning of the end for a true New Orleans icon? With new faces arriving in the backfield, the tension is real, and the uncertainty is mounting by the second. I have the inside scoop on why this roster move is the talk of the town right now. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and drop a comment below before we dive in. Alvin Kamara remains a member of the New Orleans Saints as the team approaches mandatory minicamp, creating a focal point for the franchise's current roster strategy. The status of this longtime star is the central theme of the offseason, and his potential participation in upcoming workouts is the primary uncertainty looming over the organization. While the Saints have maintained a history of retaining key contributors for the long haul, such as Cameron Jordan, the situation surrounding Alvin Kamara is unique due to contractual complexities and shifts in the depth chart. The team recently added Travis Etienne Jr. through free agency, signaling a transition that places Alvin Kamara in an unexpected position regarding his future role. ESPN's Catherine Terrell noted that Alvin Kamara made an appearance at practice during the second week of OTAs, but failed to return for the third, escalating the curiosity surrounding his attendance at the mandatory minicamp. This event is expected to provide much-needed clarity on whether a resolution between the player and the front office is forthcoming. The core of this narrative revolves around whether Alvin Kamara, a player who has spent his entire professional career with the organization, will remain with the Saints or become the subject of trade discussions. His age and current salary structure are factors that naturally complicate his standing, yet his specific skill set retains potential value across the league. As the team prepares for the upcoming season, the primary question involves how the coaching staff will balance the backfield duties. Fans who frequently shout "Who Dat" at the Caesars Superdome will be watching closely to see if their veteran running back takes the field, as his presence or absence will serve as a definitive indicator of the team's direction for the 2026 season. The arrival of Travis Etienne Jr. has fundamentally altered the expectations for the running back room in New Orleans. As it stands, the team is positioning Travis Etienne Jr. as the primary option, leaving Alvin Kamara to navigate a potentially reduced workload. This matters significantly because Alvin Kamara is currently playing under a contract that is not structured for a secondary back, which creates a logistical challenge for the franchise's salary allocation. While Alvin Kamara has expressed a clear desire to remain with the Saints, the reality of his current deal compared to his expected usage makes this situation a complex puzzle for the front office. When examining why this matters right now, it becomes clear that the team's offensive identity for 2026 is being shaped by these decisions. The presence of a veteran who has been the face of the offense for years creates a delicate balance. If the Saints cannot utilize him in a way that satisfies both his role and his contract, a trade becomes a more logical path forward. However, there is no guarantee that a trade will manifest, as the current market for a running back with his specific age and salary profile remains speculative. The team is currently in a phase where they must determine if the veteran's remaining utility justifies the current financial commitment. Coaches are tasked with integrating two distinct talents into one scheme, an objective that head coach Kellen Moore has publicly addressed by suggesting there are enough snaps for both players. Despite these public comments, the uncertainty regarding his attendance at the mandatory minicamp suggests that the internal conversation remains active. The potential for a change in scenery for such an iconic figure highlights the cold, calculated nature of roster management during the NFL offseason. Focusing on the perspective of the head coach, Kellen Moore has been clear about his intent to integrate both players into the offensive game plan for the upcoming season. According to reporting from Catherine Terrell, Kellen Moore stated early in the spring that he believes the snap distribution between Alvin Kamara and Travis Etienne Jr. can be managed effectively. Moore has been operating under the assumption that the veteran will be a part of the roster throughout the 2026 campaign. This approach emphasizes a strategic desire to leverage the experience of Alvin Kamara while simultaneously incorporating the fresh energy and skill set brought in by Travis Etienne Jr. via free agency. For the coaching staff, the goal is to extract maximum efficiency from a room that now holds two high-caliber running backs. The outcome of the mandatory minicamp is critical, as it serves as a litmus test for Moore's vision. If Alvin Kamara participates fully, it would align with the coach's stated plans and suggest that the organization has reached a functional agreement regarding his duties. Conversely, any absence from the mandatory sessions would indicate that the tension between his contract, his desire for playing time, and the new team structure remains unresolved. This dynamic is not just about the stats or the plays. It is about whether the Saints can successfully align the legacy of a veteran with the financial and competitive requirements of a modern, efficient offense. The consistency of the team's roster building, often praised for keeping core players for extended periods, is currently being challenged by this specific situation. Whether the final decision results in a continued partnership or a separation via trade, the impact on the team's offensive versatility for 2026 will be defined by the clarity provided during these 2 days of mandatory minicamp. While the trade market remains a variable in this ongoing narrative, the logistical realities of the NFL draft and free agency landscape are central to why this story is so persistent. Alvin Kamara is entering a period where his value is being weighed against the team's need to modernize its backfield. The addition of Travis Etienne Jr. was a deliberate move to secure a younger, potentially more cost-effective RB1, which naturally forces the organization to reevaluate the status of Alvin Kamara. The conversation is not limited to his ability, but rather to the financial feasibility of keeping him as a high-priced veteran asset. It is evident that his history with the city and the franchise makes him a unique case. Yet the bottom line in professional football often relies on performance relative to salary. Analysts and observers are closely watching the mandatory minicamp because it is the first true requirement of the offseason, making it a mandatory point of contact between the player and the team. If he shows up, the narrative shifts toward how he fits into the new offensive scheme designed by Kellen Moore. If he does not, the speculation regarding a departure will only intensify. The management of this situation serves as a test of the organization's ability to navigate the transition between eras. With the team having established a reputation for maintaining continuity with players like Cameron Jordan, the case of Alvin Kamara stands out as a departure from that trend. The upcoming sessions will likely determine whether the team enters the season with a split backfield approach or if the front office is forced to pursue alternative avenues to manage their cap and roster space effectively. Every snap, drill, and meeting during the minicamp will be parsed for clues. The resolution of the Alvin Kamara saga will eventually be dictated by the decisions made within the front office and the willingness of the player to adapt to the new reality of the Saints' depth chart. As the team moves forward, the importance of this specific situation cannot be overstated, as it sets the tone for the roster's internal management. The Saints have clearly indicated that they are preparing for the 2026 season with the veteran on the roster, yet the uncertainty regarding his full participation in off-season activities keeps the possibility of a trade alive. This is not merely a question of whether he is capable of performing at a high level. It is a question of whether the team's vision for 2026 includes him as a primary contributor, or if he will be phased into a more limited supplemental role. The contrast between his established legacy and the arrival of Travis Etienne Jr. creates a complex scenario that requires careful navigation by the coaching staff. For the fans who have followed Alvin Kamara throughout his career, the prospect of seeing him in another uniform is a reality they may have to confront, depending on the outcome of the discussions held during this mandatory minicamp. The management of this transition will be a defining aspect of the current offseason, illustrating the tension between sentimental value and the functional needs of the team's offense. As the mandatory minicamp concludes, the organization will have the data it needs to decide on the next steps for its longtime star. Whether the result is a long-term commitment to his role under the new offensive scheme or a strategic move to trade his services, the impact will resonate throughout the entire locker room and the remainder of the 2026 season. The final decision rests on how the team balances its current assets with the long-term objective goals of the franchise.